A huge misconception on the watch market is that an iconic watch will cost you about the same as a kidney on the black market. But that simply isn't true. I've rounded up iconic watches in every single price range from $10 to $1,000. There's something here for everyone, for everyone's budget. But if you stick around to the last one, I think that is possibly the most iconic piece in this entire list. Hi guys, my name is Jason and I am your watch guy today. Today we are looking at some of the most legendary, historic, renowned, iconic watches available for every single budget. From the price of a large Big Mac meal to the cost of a holiday in Bali. I've got all the important links that you need down in the description. Let's get into it. If you want iconic, how about a watch that sells 3 million units per year, making it the biggest selling watch on the market. The Casio F91W was introduced back in 1989. The same year the Berlin Wall came down, and get this, the year that the World Wide Web was invented. Yes, the F91W is older than the internet. I purchased one of these for around $10 in a sale. I know the retail price is slightly higher. I know you may think that's cheating, but just look around for a couple of deals and I think you'll find something. This incredible little number is possibly the most recognizable digital watch on the market, and I think it probably always will be. With day, date, stopwatch, alarm functions, a water resistance, and so many more incredible features, it's hard not to love this watch. It may be completely built in resin, but with a 7-year battery life and for around $10, can we really complain? I think this is possibly one of the most ideal everyday carry pieces. I think now enough time has passed that I can start mentioning this brand again and their little workhorses. Over the last couple of years, VOSTOK has been a brand that I have avoided, just like Putin has avoided winning any wars. They are a historical horological marvel, and I don't think any of us can really deny them. The Amphibia is an absolute diving marvel. There are so many different reference numbers available and so many different styles that you can pick these up at. They can usually be found around the $50 mark. The casing is like nothing you've ever seen at this price point. The more pressure the case is put under, the more water resistant it becomes. I really think Russia should have took that analogy to heart before they started stepping into Ukraine, to be honest. Along with all of the incredible options that come with a VOSTOK Amphibia, you can also become part of an incredible modding scene. Yes, they are a Russian brand, and I know a lot of people in the West probably don't feel too great about that, but if it makes you feel better, you can pop onto eBay and buy one from the Ukraine. Everyone wins, apart from Putin, it seems. Divers and vintage are two massive selling points in the watch market, and that's for a pretty excellent reason. We all love a good dive watch, but over recent years they've moved away from the classic designs, and that has left an open spot in the market and in many collections that needs to be filled. That's exactly what the Invicta Pro Diver 1953 does. 1953 was the birth year of 3 iconic dive pieces: the Zodiac Super Seawolf, the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, and of course the model that this gets most inspiration from, the Submariner. The classic case profile, the aluminium bezel insert, and of course the automatic movement. The famed workhorse that backs this one is the NH35. Do I really need to say more? For about $100, this one offers so much. 200 meters of water resistance, the classic dive aesthetics that you're looking for, and those vintage tones. If you're on a tight budget but you want a watch with the looks and a little bit of iconic heritage behind it, Invicta is probably the way to go. The next one on the list can be had between $200 and $250 depending on where you live. It takes its iconic inspiration from a watch that we definitely all know too well: the Cartier tank. Created by Louis Cartier in 1917, the tank is something that absolutely still blows my mind. It's one of the most sophisticated, elegant dress pieces on the market, but it was inspired by a military tank. We are, however, not speaking about the Cartier today. The Seiko SWR049 draws a lot of inspiration from the aforementioned Cartier tank, giving us a truly iconic piece packed with a Seiko quartz movement. The Roman numeral markings, the Art Deco style dial, the iconic stainless steel casing profile are all perfect companions to that dress style piece. I've seen this watch on so many different platforms, so many different reviewers, and I've honestly never looked at one and thought anything but, looks pretty sick that. This watch has all the brand heritage behind it that you possibly need, with Seiko being its creator. They've even finished off the crown with that signature cabochon style gem, which just completes the entire elegance of the piece for me. This list can definitely do with a little bit more diver goodness. The Lahr Neptune is a true modern day icon. They're on their 4th iteration now, and there is definitely a solid reason that this piece sells out every single time they restock it. It's built with the inspiration of 3 mid-century dive pieces. 2 I previously mentioned, the Rolex Submariner, the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, and one a little bit closer to my heart, the Omega Seamaster. Feel like they may have missed an important reference, but we'll move on. They build these with the high beat Miyota 9015 movement and the option of a date or no date dial. I love the angles to the casing, but more so I love the lack of angles to that bracelet. The oversized crown is something that I'm a massive fan of. It's incredibly bold in design, and I imagine incredibly useful for a dive style piece. One really interesting note is that they have actually opted to use a Hesalite crystal in this piece. Just like our friends at Omega with the Speedmaster, I am not against that. I think it's very retro, it's very vintage inspired, and as long as you keep a little bit of polywatch around, you're going to be fine. I mean, if it's good enough for the astronauts, it's good enough for desk divers and, I suppose, actual divers. At exactly $499, I think that this is the perfect new age icon piece. Iconic watches aren't always steeped in brand heritage and history. I think this list shows exactly that. The definition of iconic is something widely acknowledged, especially for its excellence. The Studio Underdog Series 01 is exactly that. The specifications aren't out of this world. An ST19 movement, sapphire crystal, sapphire caseback, and 50 meters of water resistance. The thing that makes this iconic for me and so many others is the brilliance of design, the championing of British industry, and the rethinking of what makes for incredible watchmaking. Each of these watches are assembled and quality control checked in Britain. They use straps from V-Strap Tailor, an independent British strap maker. The backing and ideology of Studio Underdog is of an elite watchmaker, but the design is something completely different and a complete 180 on what we've come to expect from the watch market. I've mentioned their watermelon piece many times on the channel before, and I'm probably not going to stop because I think it's probably one of the most brilliant designs that I have seen in watchmaking in recent history. So much fun and silliness packed into one design, but all completed at an incredible level. £500 or $650 will have you this one. This is my $750 pick. You account for import taxes, shipping, etc, etc. We're probably around there. I said this watch was the most iconic on this list, and I stand by that. For me, it is. And if it's not for you, at the very least, you are going to massively appreciate the history and quality behind this brand. World War II created a mass of iconic watches. Obviously, we have the Dirty Dozen, which I'm a huge fan of, but a lesser mentioned faction was Flieger watches. Built for the Luftwaffe as pilot watches, there were 5 original Flieger brands: IWC, Alongason, Wempe, and Stoer. Now, obviously, they are some pretty expensive watchmakers at the minute, but the last one on the list falls in the affordability of $1,000. This is also from a brand that I have personally experienced and I own. LACO. LACO are still the only affordable, genuine Flieger brand left on the market. They start out at around $300, and that's around the area that my automatic arching plays at. But the one I'm focusing on today is the original hand-wound KEMPTEN. The original line for LACO represents a window into those 1940s pilot pieces. They use a Seiko SWR049 hand-wound movement in a 39mm casing. Available in both Type A and Type B dials, my personal preference has always been Type B. It really highlights the pilot aesthetic to me, almost looking like an instrument in a cockpit. The bead blasted effect to the casing really does give that classic wartime type of look. The case back has that classic issued script etched into it, just like you'd expect from an actual military issued piece. The oversized ornate crown has always been one of my favorite additions to a pilot watch, especially in the Flieger zone. This watch, this design, this build, that history is always going to be an icon on the market, and it always should be. For around $1,000, I genuinely don't know of any more iconic pieces on the market. Let me know in the comments if you have any other suggestions for the £1,000 mark or any of the other marks that I've mentioned. Thanks for watching today, guys. I hope this list was informative, insightful, and most of all, you enjoyed it. I'd love to know your opinions of the pieces that I've mentioned and any that you think that I should have mentioned. Let me know in the comments below. I really do love to put these lists together, research into these models, and bring something a little bit different to you than just a standard review. Again, thank you to today's sponsor, Exeter. If you wanted to pick up any of their wallets or any of their everyday carry items, they are linked in the description. Remember to subscribe for more watch content, and I'll see you in the next one.